Okay, so Andres and I were reading The Bluest by Toni Morrison, and we found a page, which is page 74 of the book, which explains a lot of the theme that has been having the book. Would you read the page?
Yes. We walked quickly at first, and then slower, pausing every now and then to fasten garters, tie shoelaces, scratch, or examine old scars. We were sinking under the wisdom, accuracy, and relevance of Maureen's last words. If she was cute, and if anything could be believed, she was, and we were not. And what did that mean? We were lesser, nicer, brighter, but still lesser. Dolls we could destroy, but we could not destroy the honey voices of parents and aunts, the obedience in the eyes of our peers, the slippery light in the eyes of our teachers, and when they encountered the Marlene Peels of the world. What was the secret? What did we lack? Why was it important? And so what? Guileless and without vanity, we were still in love with ourselves then. We felt comfortable in our skins, enjoyed the news that our senses released to us, admired our dirt, cultivated our scars, and could not comprehend this unworthiness. Jealousy we understood and thought natural. A desire to have what somebody else had. But envy was a strange, new feeling for us, and all the time we knew that Maureen Peel was not the enemy and not worthy of such intense hatred. The thing to fear was the thing that made her beautiful, and not us. So, Henya, what do you think about this page?
Okay, so to give our audience a context, this is a book which is like narrated from a kid's perspective.
In this case, Pecola?
No, it's Claudia. Her friend is Pecola. And so Pecola has a lot of insecurities. She wants her eyes to be blue, and she is from African American descent. They both are. And so the book has been telling us that they seem like they don't really understand why white girls get more attention. And here, a girl called Maureen Peels is getting all the attention, and they're like in that moment where kids realize that beauty is important. Like, people react to beautiful people.
Exactly. And I think that's happened to all of us. Basically here, they just suddenly, they didn't care at first. They didn't care that they were ugly. They didn't care that perception of ugliness. They hadn't even realized it. They were who they were, and they hadn't seen anybody different. And then all of a sudden they see this blonde girl, and what they say here is that everybody's paying attention to them, and they finally get that feeling of like
I'm not enough.
Of like not enough, yeah, unworthiness.
Yeah.
And that's when they click. That's the difference when they start to say, I need to be like this in order to get attention.
Exactly.
Like, I'm ugly. That was the breaking point right here when they finally, like, Marlene Peers was probably their breaking point into what they perceive themselves as being ugly, like, as a race.
They had like influence from like Shirley Temple and stuff from the TV, like we all do. Like, we like try to mold ourselves from what we see that society likes, and our teachers, our parents, they all influence how we feel about ourselves. Like, teachers tend to have a favorite, or boys tend to like one girl more than the others, and that starts to affect us. And it's really bad because it's like TV telling us that we should look away, and that if we don't, then it's wrong. And that's what they're feeling. They're like having conflict with the way they look, their racial features, and it's hard for them growing up, especially in the time period where the book is taking like place, where still racism was like a thing, a really important thing. Like, it's still present in our daily lives, but here it still was an issue.
And I think we can look back at Colombia's history, and you can sort of understand how this same phenomenon happens here. We can look back to the time where Pablo Escobar and all of the mafia came in, where all of the women had to have, and this like the culture of having the breast implants and having your hair dyed blonde, because here, our race, we're indigenous. We come, well, our descent, we're
Spanish
indigenous.
and indigenous.
Spanish and indigenous. So most of the people are going to be with dark skin, and you could see how the girls, and you can still see how that culture is still here. They want to be blonde, they want to be blue-eyed, and they do everything, anything in order to do that, in order to be someone who they're not and who they're never going to be. And that's how they perceive themselves as beautiful, and that's how the other sex is probably going to perceive them as being beautiful. The blonde, blue-eyed. It's always almost like universal.
And it's disturbing how like transforming the way you look can make you feel better. Like, you should feel better with the way you look, right?
Exactly, and not how everybody thinks it. But I guess it's easy to say, But I think, even in our school, we can see how girls are still really insecure and how the pressure is always getting to them. Everybody wants to be just like Piccola. They want to be the perfect doll.
Yeah, even in ourselves. I mean, the thing that I think we have to start shaping is that we shouldn't make the same mistakes with our children. Like, not make them feel less or treat the prettier child better. I mean, it's something as a society we should be better. And the book is a criticism of that, of everything a child has to go through to understand that, like, life is unfair and some people will just get an easier way because that's it. That's how life is. And it's so sad. And Piccola, they say she and her whole family, like, they're not pretty. It says explicitly that they're ugly.
Exactly. And you can see the word being repeated in the text like tens and thousands of times, just emphasizing ugliness, ugliness, ugliness. Almost as if they're already convinced, almost as if the author was convinced, but you know that the author is trying to say exactly the opposite.
And they also, like, they feel okay with themselves. Like, they like their dirt, their scratches as part of their culture. Like, they're not trying to be like, oh, vanity is all I'm gonna think about. That's not, like, what they're trying to do. Yet they'll end up doing it. Exactly. They're being immersed into that world.
It's going to end up consuming them, and that's what happens here. The girls finally realized that, well, beauty is getting, well, it's imposing in their lives.
And the reader is trying to, like, fight it back, like, tell them no, like, be confident. But yet we can't do it with our own lives. Like, we are insecure, we are part of society. So why would we convince a girl in a book? Like, why are we fighting something that we are part of?
Exactly.
Right? So that was our
That's
discussion.
Our blog.
Thank you.
Thank you.